Okay, let's go into the whale spacer. I'm going to start new part. This one's not in the book, um, but it's pretty basic, honestly. We're just kind of, it's a little bit of review with one new concept. I'm going to start, make sure I'm in, again, inch pound second, and I can actually show you now. If you default to custom or metric, what you can do is you can save a template. And I'm going to save a template. I'm going to do a save as, and I'm going to select from the drop down menu, save as a parts template. And it actually changes my file location to the spot where it will I probably need to be in it. Need administrative rights here to do this. Let's see if it barks at me. It will save it in the default location, and I'm going to actually try and overwrite this one. And let's see. I'm going to say yes. For some reason it failed to save. I think it won't save because I'm not logged in as an administrator. So let me log out again and let's see. New. And it still shows down here as custom. I'll just start as inch, and but if you're logged in as an administrator, you can go in and save as, and if you select the part template, it will change the file extension, and you can overwrite this, or you can name a new one. Let's see if I can name a new one. Part 2, save. See, because I don't have permission to save in this location, it's asking me to contact the administrator. Would you like to save in the Mike B folder? Instead, I'm going to say no. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel, and I'll just change that manually. So I'm going to start, I'm actually in my part file here. I'm going to start with a sketch. The orientation, whether I use right, top, front, doesn't matter. I'm going to select the right side in this case, so the orientation doesn't matter. The origin does matter. And I know in the previous examples, I've always done this. I've started the sketch and then used the sketch relation of 2 points, one of them being the part origin, to constrain. So what I'm going to do in this option, or this part file, I'm going to start on the location, and I'm going to just kind of do the outline here. I think it goes like this. Actually, it goes a little bit to here. And then I'm going to use the line function where I can go back to the point, get to an arc, and I'm pretty sure there's a line here, and then there's another line here. And I'm going to actually end this, even though that's incorrect. I'm going to go ahead and use that. I need to, let me real quick go and try and find my whale spacer drawing. I'm going to open the whale spacer drawing just so I have these dimensions here. It is 5 inches by 3.5. So going back here, I'm always going to start with the overall length. From here to here is 3.5. No, this is 5. This is 3.5. Okay, so if you have this folded over itself, you can kind of get in here and move this. I'm going to press escape to get out of the dimension tool. I'm going to bring this one down, and this one down, and this one down a little bit. Let's see. Kind of drag this one up. So it's kind of like this a little bit. So back to the drawing, the radius here is 1. I think this radius is 1.5. And part of this project too is how we dimension. So there's within the dimension tool, if you select this line, which is a horizontal line, and this line, which you notice does not have a sketch relation on it, once I select that, it will actually default to an angle dimension. And if I go point to point, because this is a 45-degree angle, I can go, let me zoom in here a little bit. Try that again. Smart dimension from point to point. If I drag this up, this is 1.5. I made it 1.58. Let me try that again. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed, but when I added this value, if you select the extension line, you can actually delete it. But when I select a point to a point using the dimension tool, it can dimension the line length, but if you drag this up, it changes to a vertical dimension, or in this case a horizontal dimension, in this case a vertical dimension. But one way you can avoid that is if you can dimension from point to edge or line, and no matter what you do, it will maintain, because this is a vertical line, this will be a horizontal dimension. I'm going to say yes. So you would apply the same principle for this dimension. You can see it shows line length, or I can just go in here and go inch. I can also go point to edge, and this is 3 inches. That radius looks kind of small there. Is that correct? I guess it is correct. The difference, the reason why it looks small, is because it's missing a sketch relation. On this center mark, I have the sketch relation of coincident. But I'm going to make this point, hold control down, and this line, so I have the point and the line selected, and they're highlighted light blue here. I'm going to make these coincident. And now, dimensionally, I show fully defined. There's not a lot of dimensions here, if you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dimensions. But again, the key is the sketch relations. Make sure there's tangent arc to line, tangent arc to line. This is coincident with the center mark, vertical line, coincident. This is coincident with the horizontal line. This is the horizontal line. I have it also, this end point of this line, coincident with the origin. And then the rest of it dimension like I went through. Now, there is implied concentricity, and if I select on this center mark using the circle sketch tool, it doesn't show a sketch relation as concentric. So I'm not a big fan of that option, but I can't move this from center. And part of the reasons why I know that is because when I go to Smart Dimension this at 750, this shows this arc as fully defined. Let me make sure that dimension's correct too. Yeah, it's 750 through. These two are dimensioned at 1/2 inch. I'm going to select this arc and make them equal in size. And you can see these two arcs are blue. I can move them around up and down either way. So to define these, I'm going to make this point. Oh, let's try it. This point, not the arc. It's got to be the point. This point, 2 points horizontal. So now this one, I can only move side to side. I cannot move this up and down. this point and this point, horizontal, and then dimension again from arc to arc. I'm selecting not the center marks, but the outside arcs. This is off the drawing. It's 1.75, 1.75, and then there's another dimension here, arc to arc, 750. I think that's accurate. So now I'm fully defined. Now, it's a little difficult task on this one. I'm going to draw a circle right here. I'm going to smart dimension this as 0.125. And the dimension from arc center to arc center is, it's based on this call out. We call this a call out, where it has the information for the feature. It shows a diameter 0.125 through, so that's a through hole with a diameter of 0.25. It says 6 equal spaced with a diameter on a 1.500 BC. BC stands for bolt circle, so that's just a circular pattern, and that can be applied to any feature. We use the term bolt circle is a commonly used term on mechanical drawings. So I can actually go 1.5 divided by 2, and that gives the radius from here. The one thing I noticed that's not on the drawing is the clocking is not on the drawing. So even if it's not, even it doesn't specify exactly where those 6 holes should be, when you see a visual representation, if I were going to manufacture this part, I would make sure that I would follow the clocking shown. And this looks pretty good. I'm going to escape out of the dimension tool, and you can see if I take this 125 circle is blue. If I grab this, I can only move it to 750 thousandths from the center of the arc around. So it will always maintain that this 750 thousandths difference. I'm going to select my center point here, and I'm going to make these vertical, and that constrains it on location now. Now my drawing shows as fully defined. So this last feature we'll use is actually a sketch feature. So on the sketch tab, it shows your linear sketch pattern. I'm going to select the drop down menu and select circular sketch pattern. I'm not a fan of this property manager here. I don't think this is set up very good. It doesn't really show you, a lot of times when you have a dialog box here that you can populate, you can put your mouse in there and it'll give you a tooltip, which is a little pop-up definition of, if you can see, like this is a tooltip where it shows what this icon does and what this icon means. And some of these boxes have them, some of them don't. This one is set up really kind of wonky. I think the first thing that should be done is the entities to pattern. So I'm going to select that to populate entities to pattern. Within my graphics window, I'm going to open up, well actually I don't need to do that, because I can select directly off of the sketch. I'm going to select my arc. And once I select the arc, you'll see, if I move the property manager, it populated this is the center of rotation. It populated it to my part origin. So you could, when you do the drawing, if you set your part origin at the center of this arc, you would probably be fine. You wouldn't get this bad preview result like I've gotten here. So I'm going to go in and actually highlight here, and I'm going to select this point, and it gives me a pretty good preview. I don't think I can, oh, I can change it there. That's new. I wasn't sure about that. So I'm selecting the center of the arc, I've got 6 place equally spaced, 6 places, circular pattern. Yes, all these other default settings are fine. You wouldn't need to change any of these. I'm going to say yes. Now, one of the things I don't like about this, I think this is pretty wonky, is it shows now here under defined, and you can see that this original arc that we patterned is defined, but these other ones are not. So what you need to do is drag this out just a little bit. And once you do that, you can get to this rotation point. I'm going to select that, hold control. I'm going to select the arc center. It populates them within my property manager, and I'm going to make them coincident. Now, I'm done. This is the part, this is good. This is what you'll be turned. Oh, I still need to extrude it. But before I extrude it, let's do, again, the author is going to be your name, first initial, the title is Whale Spacer. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to file, also do a file save as, and I'll just go ahead and save it on my desktop as last name, first initial, Whale Spacer, all as one word. This is what I'll be submitting as a file after I select from a fully defined sketch. I'm going to select features, extrude, and on the drawing, let's see, it's pretty good. It looked a little weird when I did that because I did use the right plane. On the drawing, it is 466. Thickness 0.466, and done. And because I have these closed contours, I have what's called nested contours, which is closed contours within closed contours. It gives me a pretty good preview. 466, I'm going to say yes. I can hold my wheel mouse down and rotate the image. And this looks pretty good. I'm going to do a file save again. And this is what you should be submitting in the Canvas.